Yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's every coach's frustration when you have to use challenges on out-of-bounds plays. I mean, it is what it is. But for teams to win 3 challenges in the first half, I don't know that I've ever seen that either. It's tough. But at the same time, for us, it started with our energy and on the defensive end of the floor. We were flat to start. We dug ourselves a hole. We didn't take care of the ball. We didn't handle their physicality. I mean, that's going to be the MO against us all year long. Teams are going to be physical. They're gonna push us. They're gonna shove us.
The Indiana Fever suffered a heartbreaking defeat in a nail-biting 91-90 matchup against the Atlanta Dream. However, it wasn't just the final score that had people talking. Head coach Stephanie White's intense reaction to what many described as highly questionable officiating quickly stole the spotlight. Usually calm and collected, White showed visible frustration as calls seemed to consistently favor Atlanta. On the court, Caitlin Clark continued to shine, delivering another remarkable performance that further cemented her status as one of the most gifted athletes in women's basketball history.
There has to be some kind of better replay system or some kind of better review system where the referees can just go look at the screen whenever they want and get the call right, because she had to use both of her challenges in the first half on plays that seemed pretty obvious, and instead of the referees going to say, we're going to go look at this, Stephanie White had to use her challenge. She used them both. She was successful in both, but you only get 2. If you win the first one, then you get a second one, otherwise you get no more. So by the third quarter, when there were still more calls that she could have and should have probably questioned, she couldn't.
It's becoming a troubling pattern for Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. Despite being one of the most dynamic newcomers in the WNBA, Clark has surprisingly been at the center of a growing issue, accounting for 17% of all flagrant fouls called in the league this season. Yet rather than receiving the level of protection often extended to high-profile players, she continues to face overly aggressive defense while officials look the other way. The statistics speak volumes. Clark is being disproportionately targeted. The ongoing lack of consistent officiating is raising serious questions and could ultimately harm the credibility of the league.
Jokes aside, Brittany Griner was an absolute beast tonight, but I'm not sure there was a bigger beast in the arena than the officiating in this game, which was absolutely brutal.
Tuesday night's game against Atlanta highlighted a growing concern within the league. On 3 separate plays, the officiating was so questionable that coach Stephanie White felt compelled to challenge each one. This isn't just about occasional mistakes. It's a troubling reflection on the current state of officiating in the WNBA. When a coach is forced to use every available challenge to address calls that should be clear-cut, it points to a systemic issue. There's a deeper problem at play in how these games are being managed on the court.
I will stand by this. This is the worst referee game I've ever watched. And there were some horrendous calls both ways. Absolutely horrendous calls. The majority of horrendous calls went against the Fever.
The key impact of Tuesday night's officiating was clear. Missed calls disrupted Indiana's flow and forced Caitlin Clark, already carrying a heavy offensive load, to fight through even more adversity. Instead of letting her talent shine, the referees created needless barriers, robbing fans of seeing her at her best. Clark's court vision was stunning. Her passes sliced through the defense with pinpoint accuracy. Just 3 days earlier, she dropped a triple-double against Chicago. Now averaging nearly 20 points and 8 assists. With elite shooting splits, she's proving her brilliance game after game. And yet, the officiating continues to make her journey harder than it should be.
And the fouls, oh my god, the refs in this game, they were just calling every ticky-tacky foul. The game stoppage was just overwhelming, and there were a lot of fouls that actually did happen. There were a lot of fouls I saw that happened that weren't called, but the ticky-tack fouls, this was extra. Connor, Caitlin's boyfriend, even posted at the beginning of the game, he puts the referees on blast, and he says, good to see the W refs in mid-season form. And of course, he deleted it a few minutes later.
Just when it seemed the officiating against Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever couldn't get worse, Tuesday night's game against the Atlanta Dream proved. Otherwise, a display that raised serious questions about the integrity of WNBA officiating. Coach Stephanie White was forced to use 3 challenges, all during key moments, and she won every single one. Think about that. 3 crucial calls, all incorrectly made against the Fever. That's not just bad luck. It's a troubling pattern. The first came in the second quarter, when Clark was called for a foul while contesting a shot with no contact. Replay showed it clearly. Clean defense, no foul. White challenged, call overturned. In the third, Aaliyah Boston was hit with a blocking foul despite being set well before contact. Again, textbook defense. Again, challenge successful. That's 2 overturned calls, both clear errors. And the game still had more to come.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I just felt like they were trying to punish the Fever for the other night. You know, the referees were horrible tonight. Really poor officiating.
The most shocking moment came with under 4 minutes to play and the Fever trailing by 2. Caitlin Clark drove to the rim and was nearly leveled by a Dream defender, a foul that would be called flagrant in any fair game, but in a stunning twist, officials called an offensive foul on Clark. The arena erupted. Coach Stephanie White, visibly furious, used her final challenge, and once again, the call was overturned. It was another glaring mistake, part of a troubling pattern that's becoming too consistent to ignore. Clark has taken 17% of all flagrant fouls in the league this season, nearly a fifth. One player, that's not a coincidence. It points to a deeper issue. The problem isn't just the bad calls, and it's that Coach White had to use every challenge to fix them. What if there had been a fourth, or a fifth? How many more breaks would Atlanta have gotten if she hadn't pushed back at every turn?
My God, the officiating was on full display tonight. It was terrible. Ken Swift, all the national TV exposure. You would think they would want some good officiating to keep the people engaged. This is horrific. It was god-awful. Connor McCaffrey, Caitlin Clark's boyfriend. Good to see the W refs in mid-season form. He cremated them. Good for him. Jason Whitlock. This officiating crew is horrible. Dream, Fever. It was awful. It was terrible. Oh, the refs are hilarious tonight.
Just going into that last possession, just what did you like about the play with Natasha and just her look? Yeah, I mean, you know, initially we're trying to get the ball to AB, but she was being chucked, so she couldn't get there. She had a good read. I mean, Tosh was open. We probably should have called timeout in that situation, but I felt like Tosh was due.
For the league being like, yeah, we know we're gonna be ref bad. Yeah, we know we're gonna be ref badly. We are, and also now for the players, we can't expect calls. We can't. If you go to your players, we can't expect calls. We can't expect the refs to give anything. And I gotta say this is a much better response than something that Christy Sides would do. And again, look, I don't know if the Fever have any intricate offenses or anything under Stephanie White. But one thing you know is that as a game manipulator, for lack of a better word, Stephanie White is better. Like, let's be real. Let's be real.
It's one of the craziest stats I've seen yet. And I feel like we say this all the time. Like, wow, this is one of the craziest Caitlin Clark related stats that I've seen. Evergreen. She has played 42 games. She now has the most 25-point, 10-assist games in WNBA history. 42 games, most 25 and 10 games in WNBA history. She is tied for the most 20 and 10 games in WNBA history. Courtney Vandersloot has 10. Diana Taurasi had 9. Sloot has played 430 games. Taurasi played 565 games. Again, Caitlin Clark has played 42 games. That is unbelievable.
Choppy with, you know, the amount of fouls, the challenges. Just how did that affect you as a point guard and just the team's pace as a whole?
Yeah, I mean, to me, challenges cannot take that long. It ruins the flow of the game. I get it, it's early in the year, the refs want to make the right call. We can't sit there for 2.5, 3 minutes and on an obvious hit out of bounds off of them and still not know the call. I get it, there's things to look at, there's a clock, there's where the ball can be taken out. But that's not the only reason the flow of the game was ruined, but like we're just standing there, we're waiting and we're waiting and we're waiting.
Start with some positive news. So Caitlin Clark last night went off for 27 points and 11 assists. And in her sophomore season, Clark now has the most 25-point, 10-assist games in WNBA history. She has only played in 42 games in her entire WNBA career, and she already has the record for the